How's it going, everyone? Euphoria. Welcome to Heliopolis Radio. I have been fortunate to be joined by Olivier Mankondo, and he is a dietary specialist, more specifically the plant-based diet. He has done some very amazing things with his life, and he's here to share some of the insight into how the plant-based diet has really impacted his overall health and well-being, and also how you can contact him to maybe adopt the same program he has used himself and to get certain results that he's had. So, Olivia, I hand it over to you. Just tell me about yourself, where you're originally from. I know you're based in the UK, so what brought you there? And yeah, what's your experience been that side in the United Kingdom? And so over to you.
Yeah, yes, my name is Olivier. I'm originally from the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I moved in the United Kingdom 23 years ago. So I've been here for a long time, and I used to work as an optical technician, but now since 2016, when I discovered the plant-based nutrition, I was combining that job, and 2020 with the COVID, it became very difficult, and this has been now my full-time job.
Okay, wow. And
yeah, to coach people.
Okay, no, that's really good. And so you actually, when I was reading out, I couldn't believe it. It was incredible. But first, I'd actually just like if you be willing to share your weight loss journey. I mean, you weighed 100 kgs and you lost 35 kgs with absolutely no exercise whatsoever, and you purely used your diet as a means of solving your weight issues. So could you just go into that, how that journey kind of came about? It's quite amazing and it's quite outstanding.
Yeah. So what happened is that in 2016, I was just watching YouTube, and there was a video of an Indian yogi, and he suggested that by going plant-based, by stopping eating animal product and all that, it was possible to reverse 70% of the chronic diseases. And because at that time my health was not good, I was suffering from high blood pressure. I had massive headaches every day or every other day. And in fact, I had to have some painkillers in my body all the time because the headache was so severe. I had dandruff, chest pain, back pain, abscesses, joint pain. And like you said, at that time, my weight was 100 kilos. So I said, okay, there's no me going back, I will just do it. So it was a Wednesday when I saw that program, and I said to my wife, okay, I'll stop eating meat and all that. On Wednesday, on Thursday, I came back from work. I asked her to cook my last meal of meat. And on Friday, I went to cook turkey. And from that day up to this day, it's 7 years now, I've not had any animal product or dairy product. I've stopped everything. And it was a little bit difficult the first week. I had lots of symptoms because people don't know that when you change your way of eating, your body will react in a different way. And usually you will have detox symptoms. And in my case, I had more headaches, more cold sore. I had my joints aching even more. And most people will stop. They will say, okay, this is not good. That's how the physical body gets all the toxins out. But I was patient. And after a week, I lost 5 kilos. And I continued. And today, I've been able to, after 9 months, I was able to lose 35 kilos. All my chronic diseases went away. Every single ailment that I've had, completely gone. And since that day, since 2016, up to this day, I've not been sick a single day. Wow. I've not taken a single pill. And I've been able as well to slow down my aging process, because most people, when they see me, they think that I'm in my late 20s. I'm actually 53.
Wow. And so I was actually interesting enough that we're having this conversation. So I also had a lot of health issues and stuff like that. Not going to go into it, but I also did the dietary transition. I was actually recommended by a Chinese medicinal practitioner. He told me to stop eating meat, and obviously we come from especially being African, there's a very meat-intensive eating society. Not being critical, right? Not saying anything is good or bad, but obviously for me, it was very difficult to make. And so when I went back to uni, I actually decided to go fully vegan for about, I think I did it for almost 4 or 5 months. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It was very difficult. I mean, I remember I just felt weak. I felt tired. I just didn't feel like I was getting that energy that you normally get. I mean, because we were so accustomed to getting our iron. Sometimes we absorb animal iron much easier than we absorb iron from things like vegetables. And so I was actually going to ask you, how did you manage in terms of getting your proteins, your fat, your carbs, and how did you get your body to adapt to absorbing the nutrients from plants? Because we do that differently. And a lot of people, whenever they argue with a person who's on a plant-based diet, they ask you how you get your vitamin B12, how do you do all these things? So I don't know if you wanted to just kind of disclose how you managed to manage getting in those things which are very necessary for you to have your energy and to stabilize your mood, and also to not get feel sick all the time. Sorry, there's a lot there.
So what I would say is that the first thing for me is the mindset. The mindset is very, very important, because when people go into these things, when you're not sure what you're doing, you don't know why you're doing it, it's going to be very easy for you to be distracted and to let what you're doing. Because for me, at that time, I knew that was really what I had to do. And even with all this difficult stuff that I had, like I said, I was having some detox symptoms, but I was not phased out, because my mindset was determined. I said that this is what I'm going to do. It's the first thing that people have to put in their mind, that the mindset is very, very important, because you can eat the best food that you want, but if in your mindset, you're not sure of what you're doing, it's not good. 100%. So that was the first thing. And then after that, what I was doing is that I was mostly eating fruit, vegetables, legumes, grains, and seeds. And usually what people do is that when they transition, they start eating lots of processed food. But the processed food are not good, because with the processed food, you got lots of coloring, lots of flavoring, preservative. All these are not conducive to good health. Basically, these are products that your body did not recognize, and it's going to make you sick. And a lot of people, when they become vegan, that's what they will concentrate on eating just processed.
Like your fake meats and all that weird stuff.
Yes, exactly. But what the body recognizes is live food, like fruit, vegetables, legumes, grains, and seeds. This is what your body will be able to take all the nutrients from this food, and basically it's going to make you a good health. So that's what people need to concentrate on. Yes, sometimes I will have some processed food, but my staple food that's what I'm saying, the live food. That's what we need to eat. And if people have to do that, you will see that they have to be very good, and they will have no problem.
Oh, and so that was actually going to lead me to my next question. So one thing I noticed people struggle with, particularly myself as a vegetarian, like you said, the society we live in, everything's commercial. So every time you go to a grocery store, there's going to be herbicides, there's going to be pesticides, there's going to be something. Even if you're buying an apple, it's not the same apple that our ancestors, they didn't just take it from the tree, it had everything, it wasn't tainted. So, most people say if you're going to go plant-based, they recommend you buy organic, but not everyone can afford that type of lifestyle of buying organic vegetables, which are cheap, which in my opinion is still cheaper than buying meat. But regardless of that, what do you recommend for people who are on a minimal budget, let's say, and they need to be more practical to what they spend their money on? They can't get the best quality vegetables, the best quality legumes. Do you have any recommendations, or like a diet that's affordable for someone who just wants to transition, but they don't want to spend too much money?
Yeah. So what I'm going to say about that is that, first of all, people need to know that your health is your wealth. So if you want to save money to buy meat, because people can spend $1,500 to buy an iPhone or something like that, but when it comes to the health, it's become a problem. People need to look at their priorities. Your priority should be your health. Because even if you've got a good iPhone, you've got a big house, a big car, but if your health is not good, you're always in and out of hospitals, this is not going to be good. So I think you need to prioritize and see that obviously you're not going to spend all your money in all this produce. It needs to be your priority. So it's good, it's organic. Yes, organic is the best, but I understand that most people or a lot of people cannot afford that. But the second best is even those food, those apples, those legumes and all that, even if they've been produced with pesticide and all that, it's a lot better than eating a meat-based diet. Because your body, I'm sure the body is very wise. The body knows how to get rid of all these toxic. Because in my case, sometimes I will eat fruit which are not organic. Because let's say, for example, I want to eat some clementine, some oranges, but in the shop where I am in, it's not organic. I will still buy those fruits. And like I said, I'm not eating 100% organic. I would say maybe 70% of all that I eat is organic, but 30% is still not organic. But I was able to build a very good health. And like I told you, the past 7 years, I've not been sick a single day. So even if you are still eating, even if you're not eating organic, you're eating just fruit, vegetable, legumes, grain, nuts, and seeds, but with all these pesticides, I'm sure you will do far better than eating the meat-based diet with all the animal product, dairy product, and all that. That's what I've noticed even with my client and stuff.
And so that actually moves me into kind of what I was going to go into. So what type of programs do you run, and how do people kind of access these programs that you offer? And do you extend it to people outside of the UK as well? I'm based in Africa this side, so I mean, if there was an African demographic of people that wanted to get access to your diet program, how does it kind of work? What would they expect? And if you're just maybe just kind of discuss how your program works, what you expect your clients to do, and a bit more.
Yeah. So my actually my program is online, so I can access everybody. You can be in any part of the world. I'm still going to be to coach you because it's online. So what it is, it's a 16 weeks one-on-one coaching program where I help people to be able to lose. First of all, I help people over 30. They need to be over 30. And I help them to lose 30 pounds, a minimum of 30 pounds in 16 weeks. So that's what I do with the plant-based that I will introduce to them. And they're not going to go like me where I went cold turkey. So it goes step by step where they have to follow. For example, for this week, I will tell them that this is what they have to do. After 2 weeks, we go on the next Zoom call. And it's 8 steps that they will have to follow to be able to do that. And for most people, what is good really in the program is that you're not only losing weight, but you are reclaiming your health as well. Because the aim is not only to lose weight. Losing weight is good, but there are people who are slim, but they are sick. But with my program, you lose weight and you reclaim your health at the same time as well. So this is what is very, very good for that. And what I usually do is that I will send them people, for example, people who will watch our show. Basically, they will go on I've got a free online masterclass where they will have to go, they watch that, and from there they will be able to put a call with me if they're interested, and then we'll take it from there. That's how I watch my
And so is there a way, I know you have your website, and maybe you just want to share it with the audience so that they know where to type in. I also put it into the description when I edit the video, but just if you have a website or LinkedIn or just an email address that people can maybe contact you by.
Yeah, so if they want to contact me, they can go on my email address, which is olivier@oliviermankondo.com. That's olivier@oliviermankondo.com. They can go as well on my website, which is oliviermankondo.com. And that's basically where I am. They can go as well on I've got a YouTube channel, which is Olivier Mankondo as well. So all my handles, you just tap Olivier Mankondo. They can go on my Instagram as well. It's Olivier Mankondo. So they can see me on all these things. And I would like as well to be able to give to your listeners or your viewers a free gift, which is the 7 tips to lose weight. I will give you the link and they will be able to download that. So if they want to start the weight loss journey, it is going to be a very good document for them.
No, thank you.
They will just have to download that form.
No, please do send through the link, and then I'll post it on the YouTube video so that people can get access to it. And obviously, this is a really interesting conversation. I mean, also making the transition myself, my goal is by at least 30, I want to be fully on the plant-based. I'm just taking it step by step because, like you said, I think for me, what I didn't realize is it's the mental part that you really have to get right. Your mind has to be able to deal with everything. And so the question I wanted to actually ask you is, what do you think about the plant-based eating in today's society? There's this whole thing, vegan, be this, be that, but it's kind of like a marketing thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah. What I'm thinking about that is that the way they are showing that it's like a marketing, like a fad, the fad diet and stuff like that. But what we need to understand is that we are herbivores, and to be precise, we are frugivores. Because if you have to compare the herbivores and the carnivores, you see that human beings resemble more to herbivores. And for example, for people who are Christian, if you look in the Bible, in Genesis 1:29, it said that God gave us fruit and vegetables to eat. It didn't say meat, it didn't say fish and all that. So when you look at a human being, it's a herbivore, or basically a frugivore. And if you look at what you will see that we share 99% of the same DNA with gorillas. Mm-hmm. What gorillas eat? They eat fruit, vegetables, and tender wood. They do not eat meat. Mm-hmm. So how come we share 99% of the same DNA? Like we eat meat, and gorillas, they don't eat meat. Mm-hmm. So vegan and all that is, yes, it's a fad and all that, but understand. But what people need to understand is that the base we are frugivores. That's what we need to eat. And when you eat fruit, vegetables, legumes, grains, and seeds, you will thrive. Because it's not the default is not to be sick. And that's what we've been told, that as you grow up, you grow older, you need to become sick. This is not true, because when I started this process, I was 46. They are 53. I'm not sick. All my ailments are completely gone. And that's the message that I would like to give to people, that you don't have to be sick. Our default is good health. Because when you look, for example, at animals in the forest, they don't get best in the forest. But they don't get sick the way we get sick. So the same wisdom that the universe has put in these animals, in the same wisdom that we've got. So we don't normally need be sick like that with high blood pressure, diabetes, kidney problems, and all that. No. When you start eating the food biologically designed for the human mechanism, it becomes very difficult to put on weight and to become sick. Mm-hmm. That's what people need to understand.
And so I was actually going to ask you, are you familiar with the work of, because I know you mentioned an Indian yogi, so the Hindu religion, they've kind of really cultivated themselves, but obviously not trying to make it spiritual, religious, and anything like that. Yeah. But I was going to ask you, are you familiar with the work of Dr. Africa and Dr. Sebi? I know they were African-centered dietitians who also saying the exact same thing that you're saying, that we should originally, like our digestive tract, its size and everything, if we look at it, even just our teeth and our sizes in comparison to, like, let's say a lion or something like that, which is not built to digest meat that way. And it also comes down to the acid. Acid was the main one. They talked about alkaline and acid, and they said in order to break down meat, there's a certain amount of acid that's required, that an animal, like I have a pet dog here, it has the necessary acid to break it down. But for humans, for us to produce that amount of acid is kind of unnatural, and it's almost dangerous to our health in the long term. Yeah. So I don't know what your thoughts about that are.
Yeah, this is exactly, because if you have to get into a little bit of detail, if, for example, you look at carnivores, they've got 2% canine. The incisors are short and the molars are practically not developed. Because carnivores, they've only got one movement in their jaw. Mm-hmm. They can only cut and swallow, they don't chew their food. But when you look at herbivores, they have to cut and chew their food. And this is exactly what we human beings have to do. And if you look at as well at carnivores, for example, if they want to drink water, they lick up the water. But herbivores, they soak up the water. And this is exactly what we human beings do as well. So again, in this instance, you can see the similitude between human beings and herbivores. When you look at carnivores as well, they can. And that's the way for them to regulate the temperature. Herbivores, they sweat through the skin. And we human beings, we sweat through the skin just like herbivores. Mm-hmm. You look again at carnivores, the gestation period is 15 weeks or less. For example, the wolf to a stock is going to take 9 weeks. For a cheetah, it's 13 weeks, and for a lion, it's 15 weeks. But when you look at big herbivores, the gestation period starts at 34 weeks. For example, a cow, to have a calf, it's going to take 40 weeks. For a horse, it's 47 weeks. For a giraffe, it's 60 weeks. And for the human being, it's 40 weeks. Again, we fall in the category of big herbivores and not carnivores. And when you look at carnivores, they've got a shorter gestation period and multiple births. For example, a lioness will have multiple cubs at one go. And when those cubs are born, they are blind. But when you look at big herbivores, they've got single births. And when the cubs are born, they are not blind. You look at that human being, exactly the same. We've got single births. Ready twins. And when our babies are born, they are not blind. You look at the digestive tract. The digestive tract for herbivores is very long. It's roughly 6 times the length of the body. You look at carnivores, the digestive tract is very short, and it's 3 times the length of the body. You look at us human beings, we've got very long intestines, which are 27 feet or 9 meters long. And like we were saying as well, when we eat meat, it gets transformed into uric acid. And that's why people get gout. And that's why you will see that carnivores, they've got very powerful kidneys to get them to enable them to get rid of that uric acid. Because when you eat meat, it gets transformed into uric acid. Obviously, for us human beings, we haven't got that powerful kidney. And there's an enzyme, which is called taline. An enzyme enables the digestive process to start in the mouth region. And only human beings and herbivores have got an enzyme. No carnivores have got that. So you can see again similitude between human beings and herbivores. And like you were saying as well, because like I've told you, carnivores, they've only got one movement in their jaws. They can only cut and swallow. So they need very powerful stomach acid. And in fact, the stomach acid 20 times stronger than our stomach acid.
Wow.
So when you look at all these, you will see that we are not carnivores, we are herbivores. And another example that I like to give, because I'm a speaker as well, when I go to speak, give public events. For example, they put you in a very big enclosure, they put you in the goat inside. They tell the last goat, they tell you that this goat will be your food for the next week. They give you no food and stuff like that. After 2 weeks, when we come back, we'll be something for them. Yes, and why is that? Because we are not biologically designed to eat meat. The carnivore, lion, for example, if we want to eat a prey, it only needs its teeth and its claws, and that's it. But for us human beings, if we want to eat, we need some external tool. We need
like a knife. We need a knife. We don't have the natural apparatus.
Yes.
To completely devour. Yeah.
Exactly. So we are not built to eat meat. Or for example, if they give you a chicken, with your teeth starting to bite into the you're not designed to do that.
And more specifically, the disease that will be passed on, salmonella. We don't have the digestive system capable to annihilate the bacteria and get rid of that. Otherwise, we'd get very ill. And so I was actually going to ask you, because this is interesting. What are your opinions on the African diet, which is predominantly meat-based? Obviously, we know that in a survival situation, we have natural survival instincts. You know, our hunter-gatherers, they hunted, they killed animals, but then when they did it, it was a once-off thing. You didn't eat it so regularly. They would kind of take nuts, legumes, they'll eat honey. They'll utilize that as their predominant source because they could get that regularly. But when they did eat meat, it was either for some, I don't know, it might be some religious or spiritual inclination predominantly, or it was out of just a survival. There was a certain hunger, the crops weren't growing, there was drought, and so they had no choice but to resort to that. So do you think that the not just the African diet in general, but the human diet, do you think it's become the way we consume is counterintuitive to how we naturally used to consume before we started our eating habits of today? They're just not as naturally in tune as our ancestors. They're kind of unnatural. It's almost unnatural the way we're doing it, the way we're consuming. Firstly, not hunting and killing the meat itself, but more specifically eating it more than is necessary. I'm not saying that, for the ideal situations, people don't eat it, right? But let's say for someone who's inclined to eating meat for whatever purposes, be it ancestrally, be it religiously, be it spiritually, do you still feel like even today we're not doing it in a natural sense, in a way that it's a bit excessive? There's an excessiveness to it almost.
Yeah, exactly. Because even when you look at carnivores, they are built to eat meat. But I don't know if you're aware that all the carnivores, they don't eat meat every day. For example, a lion will kill a prey today, and the next meal will be in a week.
In a week's
so for
time.
a week, yeah. But we human beings, we are not trying to eat meat, but at every single meal, we need to have some kind of animal product. And that's why we are sick ever. When you look at diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer, all these things, because we are not built to eat these things. And when you look at our ancestors, like you said, most of the time they were eating just fruit, vegetables, legumes, grains, and seeds. They will hunt maybe once a week or twice a week, and when not even twice a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, or something like that. Because when you have to hunt, it's difficult. Even the carnivores, when they have to hunt,
it's very
most of the
taxing on
time
your
they
body.
fail to catch the prey. So it was something demanding. You have to produce lots of effort. And maybe when they would kill an animal, they would bring it back to the village and they would share with all the village. So basically, it meant that they were eating very little of animal product. And that's why they were thriving. You will see all people, they are 90s, in the 80s, the 90s, and you can still see that they're very strong. They still going to the forest. They can carry heavy stuff and all that. So really, we are eating too much animal product, and that's why we are sicker than ever. And what I think as well is that the pharmaceutical industry is the biggest industry in the world, and they live off sick people. So I think the information that they give us is just to make us sick, because when we are sick, we will have to buy these pills, all this stuff, and that's how they make money. They cannot cure you, because if they cure, they will go out of business. It's like me. 8 years I've not taken a single pill. So if people have to be like me, the pharmaceutical industry will disappear. And this is the biggest industry in the world. And they don't want that to happen. So they need to keep you sick all the time. So you will have to buy the medication all the time, until your body cannot take it anymore and die.
No, Olivier, this is it's a very interesting, it's actually very, I mean, we could go on for hours and hours, but obviously I mentioned the situation with my laptop's battery right now.
Yeah.
And I'd definitely like to have you hop on again and maybe kind of go in depth, because obviously, there's always a huge debate when it comes to diet, right? And sometimes I actually think my criticism of, like, especially like the vegan community and stuff like that, is how you criticize someone's diet without any kind of justification, explanation. It's always like, you eat meat, you're a sinner, you're going to, I don't think that's a conducive way to share the reason why you eat what you do. I think that's actually what's made people who are on a plant-based diet look kind of unpopular, is because you have a poor representative of I think if people actually have a conversation with you and they understand, okay, look, these are the biological implications on the body. Maybe it's a mental thing first, like it's just a mental adjustment that you need to fight through, because the mind is always the first barrier of defense, right?
Yeah.
The mind is used to doing something. It doesn't want to have anything interrupt that. But I'm just going to have to kind of cut it short there. So I do want to thank you for hopping onto the show, Olivier. Apologies again for the situation with my laptop. It is what it is. But for those of you who you can follow Olivier on his YouTube channel. It's Olivier Mankondo. He has a lot of, I actually saw your YouTube channel. I saw some of the videos. He has basic suggestions for dealing with health ailments. And basically, he also guides you in making transitions onto a plant-based diet, foods not to eat and foods to eat. You can also follow him on LinkedIn, Olivier Mankondo as well. And then on the YouTube video, I'm going to post a link to his website and then the free course that he's offering. But again, Olivier, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Hopefully we could have this conversation and I can actually make the full transition. I won't even lie, I'll be honest, I'm struggling with the transition. Growing up, eating meat my whole life, it is what it is. You have to kind of go through that. Some people go through it better than others, but some people, they kind of have to kind of struggle with it. But nonetheless, thank you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge. And again, congratulations to you for the discipline, in maintaining this diet. And yeah, you look younger than most people on the planet. I was thinking you're maybe 25, 26. So it's clearly working for you, brother, but we truly appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.